Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to explain why setting goals is dumb. And if you set goals, you are a dumb person. No, just kidding. Despite what the title may imply, I think goals and goal setting are good and helpful, but I think our culture, and especially our corporate world and college world and stuff like that, has an obsession with goal settings as the best means to individual growth and long-term growth. From college classes to performance reviews, our whole sort of corporate environment is centered around goal setting and achieving goals. But is this goal achievement focus the best means to personal growth? That's kind of what I want to challenge in this video. I'm going to argue that it is not the best approach and that we should instead focus all of our efforts on developing good habits and cultivating a character of discipline. So just to begin with, I want to go over why goals are useful. I mean, obviously there must be something to this focus on goals if everyone is so focused on setting goals and that kind of being the best means of personal growth. And I do think a well-defined goal has this unique ability to motivate us to make drastic changes in our life, to motivate these drastic behavioral changes to our benefit. For example, if someone sets a goal to, for example, lose 10 pounds over the next month, they will be motivated to make drastic changes to their diet. Maybe they were eating KFC every day, and now they're going to switch to maybe having a salad for lunch instead of KFC for lunch every day. And they might make a drastic change to their workout routine, where currently their workout routine might be sitting up out of bed and walking to the bathroom in the morning before going to work. Now their workout routine might be getting up early and going for a run or going to the gym or something like that. So this ability to motivate demonstrates the power of setting well-defined goals. However, I think this also hints at one of the downsides of goals as well, this motivation to make drastic changes specifically, or to set a plan that makes a drastic change to your lifestyle. So I think the main problem in having a goal setting or goal-oriented approach is that motivation is incredibly fleeting. On the day that you set your goal, you might be extremely motivated and have this incredibly detailed plan that you're determined to follow. You will follow this diet at all costs, and that day you're definitely motivated to do so. However, will you feel that motivated in a week, in a month? The longer you wait, the less this initial motivation starts to fade, and you might not have as much motivation to follow this initial plan. You might kind of forget how motivated you were to lose 10 pounds a week ago. Will you feel as motivated in a week or month? Probably not. The novelty and excitement of the goal fades, and the motivation to strictly stick to your plan slowly goes away, and then you begin to fall back slowly into your old routines. However, obviously sometimes people are able to stick with their plan. They're able to stick with their plan for achieving their goal, and they do achieve the goal. And at this point, now there's a sort of question of now what? Do you continue going on with your plan? Do you continue eating this extreme diet compared to before? Well, maybe not. At this point, maybe it's time for a break. You're like, okay, I achieved my goal. Now I can take a break from this. And then you go back to how you were living before, because you don't need to follow this extremely strict plan anymore when your focus is just on achieving that goal. You achieve the goal. Now it's time to move on, take a break. So you've pushed yourself to follow the plan as long as you've needed to, and you've achieved your goal. Now you can go back to the way you were living before. But if this is the case, did your goal achievement really contribute to your growth? If the end result is just going back to how you were living before? Sure, maybe in the case of the diet, you lost the 10 pounds. You did fine. You were able to strictly follow it. But now you go back to your old way of eating or your old way of exercising, and then you might gain the 10 pounds right back. So you had this little spike, this little, little dip in weight, but then you just go back up to where you were before. And their plan did help them achieve their goal, but the problem is the motivation was fleeting after the goal, and the plan that they made was so strict that they didn't have a motivation to maintain it after the achievement of the goal. They were more motivated by the process they were more motivated by the results than by the process. And as a result, this achievement of the goal doesn't really lead to any personal growth from the goal achievement process. By focusing so much on the achievement of the goal, you may fail to address the root condition that made the goal necessary in the first place. Additionally, the focus on results de-emphasizes the importance of developing a sustainable process that will continue to produce your desired results and continued growth, continued achievement in the years to come, or after the goal is achieved. And without the development of such a process, goal achievement will require consistently high levels of motivation that is almost inhuman. Our emotions are so fleeting, and I think any sort of plan that tries to create self-improvement over a long period of time has to acknowledge that fact. Motivation is fleeting. You won't be as motivated today as you tomorrow as you were today. So I think without the development of a process, of a sustainable process, personal growth is going to be this sort of volatile process that takes the form of random spikes in growth whenever you feel sufficiently motivated, and then after you achieve the goal, you regress back to baseline. So you just have this kind of level pattern of you have a spike in growth and then you dip back down. And maybe you see some small growth over time, but this process of just spike and then return to the mean, or spike and return to the mean, it kind of leads to this pattern of stagnation almost. So, what is the solution to this? And I think the best way to break this cycle and the best way to develop a sustainable process for personal growth is to primarily focus your energy on building good habits. And a habit is just a regular practice or tendency that kind of just becomes automatic in your lifestyle. Good example, like brushing your teeth. Like every morning and every night before bed, I go and I brush my teeth. It just become automatic. I've been doing it since childhood. It's not very difficult. Now, if you're British, I don't know what a habit that you might have would be, but as an American, I think that this is generally assumed to be a habit that we generally have. Another example could be like going to the gym every day, or if you're Christian, reading the Bible every day, or for me specifically, posting a YouTube video every week, which I've been doing since November. That was a habit that I've very intentionally been trying to cultivate. So this also, I think, the key fact about habits is that they're things that we do so frequently that they almost become automatic. It feels weird to break a habit. And it also explains why bad habits can be so hard to break. If you create a habit of just going on your phone and scrolling all night every day after you come home from work, that it's going to be hard to break that habit and do something different, because your brain kind of becomes accustomed to entering that drift state right after work. So it explains why bad habits are so hard to break, but it also means that good habits are a lot easier to maintain. If you wake up every morning at the same time before work, go to the gym, you're going to be so much more motivated to continue doing that. It might take an initial push, but it becomes this thing that doesn't take that much effort to continue in the future. You don't require these consistently high levels of motivation that are typically required to stick with a plan for goal achievement. If your plan for goal achievement does not involve developing a habit, that plan is inherently something that is habit breaking. It's breaking a routine of the past, and it's something that you have to have a lot of motivation to continue doing and to start doing. And additionally, the nice thing about habits is they're not something that just goes away after you achieve your goal. They start to not feel like effort as you begin to enter deeper and deeper into your habits. So, as a result, a habit-focused mentality results focus on developing and maintaining a process that contributes to self-growth. This sort of process focus avoids common pitfalls that come with the results orientation, as mentioned before, and it contributes, instead of this very stagnant approach of like these little spikes and then return to mean, spike and return to the mean, it contributes to this general steady pattern of consistent, gradual personal growth that builds upon itself. And maybe there's little drops here and there where you miss a day of reading or something, but it contributes to this general, gradual sense of personal growth as you add on more and more good habits slowly over time. And it builds off itself, and say if you're reading every day, like you're gaining more knowledge suddenly, you finish another book and now you have that knowledge, and it's just slowly building on itself, and it avoids the sort of spikes and regressions typical to goal orientation. And I think a focus on goals can avoid this too, but I think it can only do so when your plan to achieve your goal involves development of a habit that you can maintain after you achieve your goal. Like, your goal achievement can't stop once you achieve the goal. You need to develop something consistent that can allow you to sustain your growth after that. And I think a habit is essential to that. So basically, the point is the effectiveness of goals relies on habits. But the reverse is not the case. Good habits can contribute to personal growth without an associated goal. If I decide that I want to read every day, I'm going to gain knowledge, regardless of if I have a goal to read 20 books this year or 10 books this year. If I just say I'm going to read every day, I'm going to gain knowledge. If I decide I'm going to lift every day, I will gain strength, regardless of whether I have a goal of being able to bench a certain amount or squat a certain amount. Like, over the span, after I moved to California in 2023, from the span of September 2023 to September 2024, I made this plan to go lift every single day for the entire year. Or not lift, it was some sort of workout every single day for the entire year. And my bench press numbers went up significantly in that time, and my squat numbers went up significantly in that time, without even having to set a goal necessarily. So even if I had no specific goal, building these good habits contributed to positive results, even if there's no specific goals at the outset. And then also, if you start developing a habit, you will begin to develop goals along the way kind of automatically. Like this year, I started a plan to just read the Bible every single day. At some point, I'm going to get through the whole Bible. That's kind of a goal that implicitly comes out of this. But the main principle is that I'm reading it every single day, and developing that habit. The goal is not necessarily to finish the Bible. The goal is to develop a habit of reading the Bible, and then I'll read it over and over again as a result of that. Another goal is benching 315 pounds. I'm close. I'm really close. I got 295 the other day, and I've tried it a couple times, but we're almost there. And it just takes consistently going to the gym, lifting. I think right now I'm lifting like 4 to 5 times a week. Another goal is running a half marathon. That's something I started working on recently. I was really into running. If you remember my old channel, I had this one short. I think it's like one of my only shorts where it's like, go run, and it's me like out on a run. And I've gained a lot of weight since that time. So and my running has gotten a lot worse since that time. So I decided to sign up for a half marathon in May, and slowly working at that, started running. I think last week I started running, so we're getting there, and ran this morning. But I think along with this, if I just develop this kind of habit of running, that I can carry throughout, including after the time of the half marathon, I'll be able to achieve the goal of running the half marathon, even if I just focus on that habit. Now, even though habits don't require goals, goals can still help motivate you to maintain or form habits. So in the context of habit formation, goals can be really helpful and motivating. So I think in a certain sense, goals are super helpful here. In this context of habit formation, goals can give you kind of this motivation to start a habit, to start a new habit, or to continue in a new habit when you're maybe potentially falling out of a good habit. Like you could set a new goal and then continue to maintain the habit. However, I think we can't separate habit formation from personal growth. I think there needs to be more of an emphasis on habits as the primary means to experience personal growth. I think interestingly, Proverbs seems to share, so this is from the Bible, Proverbs seems to share like some of my focused view of growth, or share this process-focused view of growth. You'll often see that Proverbs talks a lot about focusing on staying on the right path, or making your path straight, or things like that. It focuses a lot on the path and not necessarily the destination. I think especially Proverbs 4, which is something that I read yesterday actually, has some interesting quotes on this, like Proverbs 4:14 and to 15, where it says, "Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of the evil. Avoid it. Do not go on it. Turn away from it and pass on, which kind of focuses on avoiding bad habits, avoiding going down a dark path, kind of. And it's a focus on a path towards somewhere. It's not focusing on where it's leading. It's focusing on entering a wicked path or staying on a good path. More of a focus on like the good path is Proverbs 25 to 27, or Proverbs 4:25 to 27, when it says, "Let your eyes look directly forward and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet. Then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil." So it's about focusing on the path that you're on, and it's not the advice that it's giving is not focusing on a goal in the distance. It's focusing on the path you're on, kind of building the habits, building good habits, not swaying from these good habits into bad, destructive habits. So I think it was interesting that Proverbs kind of aligns with this habit sort of focus. Okay. So let's stop talking about habits right now, and now I want to move into discipline. And I think discipline is essential for developing and cultivating good habits, is cultivating a character of discipline in your life. So another point that I made earlier about goals was that motivation can be very fleeting. Motivation is kind of an emotion. It goes up and it goes down, and we are kind of at the mercy of just whatever random whims come upon us and affect our motivation in different ways. It's whatever circumstances come upon us, however we feel that day, sometimes what we ate that day, how much sleep we're getting. The motivation can be very fleeting, very volatile, depending on many different factors in life. Some days you're going to feel super motivated to achieve your goals or to maintain your habits, but other days you'll have no motivation at all. And I think the struggle to maintain motivation is probably one of the biggest issues that I've encountered in my own attempts to build habits and achieve goals, and I'm sure other people are dealing with that same thing. It's hard to maintain motivation to stick to your habits and to stick to whatever plans you're trying to follow to achieve your goals. And I think this is why discipline is so crucial to self-growth. And discipline just refers to our ability to consistently make choices that align with our own growth, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. In this context, it means sticking to our habits, even if we have no motivation to do so. Maybe we had a busy day at work, maybe we're tired. Discipline, cultivating a character of discipline means that you stick to those goals anyways. It means that we make time for our good habits, even when it seems like there is not enough time. Discipline is a character trait that we don't form automatically. It's something that we build over time through our own choices, through our own decisions that we make, through the time that we make for different things. And every time we decide to follow through with a habit, even when you're unmotivated, you're building discipline. Even every time you decide to do something uncomfortable that's good for you, you're building discipline. Each discipline choice to endure, to embrace discomfort, makes the next choice easier. And we can all work on discipline by pushing ourselves to follow through with any uncomfortable decisions that we should make for our own good, or any commitments that we have. Like, for example, I talked about recently signing up for a half marathon. I haven't run in years, but I know that signing up is going to force me to train, which builds a good habit of running again, and it commits me to discomfort. And in that process, I know it's going to help me build discipline. Same thing with this YouTube channel. Like, I made this commitment to posting to YouTube every Monday, and there's so many weeks when I'm not motivated, or I'm going on a trip and I have to pre-record things, but I still force myself to get up, do it, write the script, post it on YouTube, record the video, do all that stuff. And so far, I've been able to stick with my running plan. I've been able to stick with this YouTube plan. And I think it has built a lot of discipline in my own character and helped me become a more disciplined person. I'm better at going to the gym, even though that wasn't a habit that I explicitly made to kind of cultivate discipline. And I found that these these acts of discipline have helped me be more disciplined in other habits like reading, working out, all those sorts of things. And as a result, I would encourage you to try to find a way to cultivate discipline in your own life. I don't know what that means for you. I don't know if you want to sign up for a half marathon or start posting to your own YouTube channel or something like that. But you should try to embrace discomfort, because that is what leads to growth, and that's what can make you a more disciplined person, is finding certain habits to force yourself to perform and to be disciplined about those habits. Now, one thing to note is the reality is that life makes good habits so difficult to form, so difficult to stick to. There's just this day-to-day busyness. Like, I might have some event after work, or I might have, I don't know, so like might have a vacation planned or something. Just the day-to-day busyness of life makes your daily habits really hard, especially your daily habits, really hard to maintain. The weekly ones are hard enough. But the first point that I'll make is that when something happens, when life happens and you break some habit, like say you want to read every day, there's some day where there's just so much going on. You go to work, then you come home, and then you have to go to some other meeting or some event after work, and then you come home later and you're just tired. You just want to go to bed so you can wake up at a reasonable time the next day. The first point is that you should always try to bounce back at the next opportunity when you break a good habit. Like if you miss one day in a daily habit, if you don't read one day, make sure you read the next day. Make time to read the next day. Emphasize that. And say you miss 2 days, make sure you read the next day. That's the nice thing about habits. You can always get back on track. You can miss out a few days. Don't beat yourself up. Just get right back on board, because you might have missed out on a few days, but you can rebuild that habit. You can keep trying. There's always second chances to rebuild habits. You can always continue the next day. And oftentimes the hindrance to your growth, if you just miss one day or two, it's going to be minimal, because you miss, say you're you're trying to read every day, you miss 2 days in a month. Like you're still reading 29 out of 31 days or 28 out of 30 days. Or I guess this month it'll only be 26 out of 28, so you might be screwed. Don't miss any days in February, okay? But your hindrance to your growth is going to be minimal, but you just have to make sure you get back on that habit building train. And each day can represent a new win for you. And that's also where it can be helpful to sort of track the habits that you're doing over time. Like keep a tally of how many days you have of a streak of reading in a row, or keep track of how many days you've exercised in a row, or how far you are along in the Bible if you're reading every day. I think all those sort of things can be helpful as well, just to help you realize, like, to kind of to kind of grasp the gravity of how much your habit has been helping you and has been building you up and making you achieve certain things. So yeah, that's one point. And then another point that I'll make is that you're going to start finding yourself making time for your habits, even on the days that are busy. Even if you're going on vacation, for example, you're going to find yourself making time for your good habits, because they're habits. They become kind of automatic. You feel like something's missing if you don't do that habit. Like when I was working out every day, I still mostly work out every day. I don't keep the streak like I used to, sadly, but I should get back on that. I think that would be helpful. But yeah, you'll start finding yourself making time for those habits. Like I would force myself, even if I had like a early flight, I would wake up earlier and go on the bike at my apartment for like 15 minutes. So you start finding yourself make time. Like there's always more time to do these things and to make time for your habits. You have more time than you realize, is the point. Like think about how much time you spend probably on your phone or watching TV. Like this is time that you could be cultivating some other habit. Another example, just because you're tired or busy, like the simple example from before of brushing your teeth. Like even if I have a busy day at work and have a meeting after work, like I'm gonna brush my teeth before I go to bed. It's just such like a simple habit, and you make time for it. And I think this similar principle can apply to all of your habits. Another thing I want to say is getting a consistent sleep schedule and waking up very early is incredibly helpful. The consistent sleep schedule just is helpful for having energy. If you have like a highly fluctuating sleep cycle, you're just not going to have the energy to do these habits every day, and you're going to easily slip into just undisciplined behavior where you're just too tired to have any discipline, sort of. And motivation, you won't have any motivation when you're as tired as you would be if you have an inconsistent sleep cycle. But I also want to say waking up extremely early, I find, is very helpful in your effort to make time for habits. There's always more time in the morning that you can fit things in if you wake up earlier. Now, currently, this might be a little extreme, but I've been waking up at 4 a.m. recently before work, and I noticed that if I do that, I always have time to go run, to go lift, to go read, to do all the things that I want to do. I'm actually recording this video before work right now. It's starting to get close to time to clock in, so I'm going to wrap it up soon. But I've noticed that waking up at 4 a.m. is super, super helpful for finding time. And this is a drastic step. I know 4 a.m. is really early. Some people are night people too. So maybe finding time to do things before bed, which I think is a lot harder. But I'm sure people can do that. But at the very least, I'd recommend that you consider having a consistent sleep schedule, having a consistent routine in the night or routine in the morning where you can get things done and start cramming your habits into. And I would recommend that, and then also consider just waking up a little bit earlier. I think the amount that you can get done if you wake up even an hour earlier than you typically do is shocking. I think you'd be surprised how much you can start to fit into your mornings and then just feel productive and feel like you've done something before going into work on any given day. And when you're up before everyone else, there's never any busyness or never any of these random events or people inviting you to things or different things, random events that can get in your way that after work would do. You have just a few hours every morning just to focus, just to do the things that you need to do to make yourself more productive and to make yourself better. You have a few hours to just focus. And then I'll also say you should try to make your habits the first thing that you do. Whether it's after work or before work, the first thing that you should do before you start watching TV, before you start scrolling on your phone, before you start watching YouTube videos, is go do whatever habit you're trying to build, whether that's running or working out. I'm sure there's other habits besides these. I'm just kind of focusing on the ones that I'm cultivating right now. But try to do those habits before you start entering a drift state, before you start going on your phone or watching TV, go work out. Because I think once you enter a drift state, it's extremely hard to refocus and to start taking a disciplined action. I find that scrolling on my phone can be one of the biggest obstacles to reading or working out. If I get home after work and then I start scrolling or watching YouTube videos, it's hard to break that and then to start doing something productive, because the productive thing isn't as stimulating as scrolling through reels would be or watching YouTube videos would be. It's hard to just pick up a book and start reading that because it's not as engaging as a phone is or a TV show is or anything like that. So I would say make it the first thing you do after work or make it the first thing you do in the morning. That's why I find the morning helpful, because I'm not in that drift state yet. I can just get stuff done and then I can go to work. I don't have time to even go and look at my phone. And sometimes there's mornings where I do go on my phone, and those mornings are the mornings where I end up breaking the habit or missing out on one of the things. Maybe if I scroll on my phone for 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, I don't have time to read as much as I'd want to, or to go to the gym as long as I'd want to, different things like that. And then, that's why I try to complete productive tasks as early in the morning as possible. And then I also think that vacations can absolutely wreak havoc on your habits. So knowing this, recent vacations, I try to pack running shoes with me. and books, so that I at least have the opportunity to make time to do those things. And especially with working out, like if I have a running schedule, like I'm gonna try to make time to do that even on vacation. But I just need to like try to make time to prioritize these habits while I'm planning my vacation out, while I'm planning out what I'm gonna do each day. Like I need to schedule time to wake up early and go for the run or different things like that. So you need to find ways to prioritize those habits and plan to prioritize those habits in advance, even in the routine breaking environment of a vacation. And then once you get back, the key is to immediately get back into whatever habits you might have broken while on vacation. Like typically you might need a rest day, maybe that's fine, but the key is to try to immediately get back into your habits. And I think it's essential to always plan ahead. Think about what habits are going to be difficult to maintain and make it a priority to fit them in. For example, tomorrow, so I'm recording this on a Tuesday, little bit before work, and tomorrow morning I'm going to Hawaii, like Wednesday through Monday, through the end of the day Monday, and I'm posting this. I post my videos on Monday. That's my day for posting that I've scheduled. So I need to plan ahead, and this is the one real opportunity that I have to do this. So I planned ahead, try to fit in the recording of this video today, and then also making that kind of a priority. So I'm actually going to be in Hawaii when this video is released, and I decided to record the video now just to kind of ensure that I can be able to post that on the day that I'm in Hawaii, basically. So by planning ahead and finding time, I'm able to successfully maintain this good habit of weekly video release, even when my travel plans make it difficult. I'm also packing running shoes when I'm going so that I can maintain my half marathon training schedule and all these sort of things. And based on the way the trip is planned, like I should have time to be able to do all of this stuff as long as I make it a priority to prioritize those habits and keep building on those habits. But I'm not perfect, so who knows how I'll be in a week. And that's another thing to remember. Like, we're not perfect. There's always little things that happen. Life happens, and don't beat yourself up if things don't go as planned. But also try to cultivate discipline and try to overcome those obstacles that life may present whenever possible. But yeah, every day that you participate in your habit or partake in your habit is a day that you are growing, which is a great thing to remember, because maybe you can miss a day. Just get back on the train tomorrow. Okay, so with all of that, I want to open up to the comment section. Let me know if there's anything you disagree with and can discuss. And I think a lot of this video is my own experience, so I'm really curious how it resonates with everyone. I think different things will work for different people. Yeah, and with that, if you like the video, please like. If you want to be notified, you can subscribe. And if you want to donate, I have a Patreon. I don't know if there's anyone even on it yet, but yeah. And if you want to join the Discord and ask questions and discuss, yeah, there's also the Discord link below. And thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Peace.